Hey everybody, so lots of stuff to talk about today. Something new is happening for MultiVersus tomorrow. So Tony Huynh, the game's director, wrote something coming tomorrow that the team at Player First Games put together, #MultiVersus. And then Player First Games tweeted out, "You absolutely will not want to miss this." So what exactly this is going to be, I have no idea. Potentially our next character reveal or character trailer for an already revealed character, as we have several characters revealed that we haven't actually gotten yet, like Rick, Black Adam, and Strife. Perhaps we'll get a set release date for one of those characters, or maybe we'll get like a roadmap of what to expect for characters throughout Season 1 or something. Tony also recently wrote, "Hi, the team is working to get guilds and the store, but it will still be a little bit out. Our main focus is still core systems, stability, and bug fixes. The patch next week will be one of our biggest ones yet, which adds a lot of cool things. We're getting closer every day." So considering guilds in the store are further out, and next week is going to be like a big patch update, I do think whatever news we're getting tomorrow will probably be like the next character or something. That makes the most sense to me, given that our next patch is simply for stability and bug fixes, and any big thing like the guilds or a store added to the game is further out. So probably we'll see the next character. Like always, before I get into speculating who that character might be or what we could see tomorrow, I just want to say that everything I talk about in this video is just rumors. There is no certainty in anything I talk about in these videos. I am only talking about the rumors about things like data mines and leaks for MultiVersus. There is no proof of anything in these videos, and I am just discussing rumors that are already out there on the internet. Alright, so with that said, and news coming tomorrow, let's talk about what is new in the world of MultiVersus speculation. First off, let me just congratulate MultiVersus on having 20 million players since the open beta started. That's a huge accomplishment, very awesome to hear. I'm very happy to see this game is doing so well. We also recently got a MultiVersus commercial or advertisement called Jump Into the 90s Parody, and it's hilarious. I absolutely love it. I'm a big fan of 90s nostalgia as a 90s kid myself, and this parody commercial was hilarious. Definitely go check it out if you haven't already. Also, some eagle-eyed fans did spot a potential new ring out in the trailer. There's a ring out animation that happens in this MultiVersus trailer video, and it's a ring out animation we have not seen yet, so it could be an upcoming one. Also worth noting early on in this video, because I know it's going to be big news for a lot of people out there, Warner Brothers recently trademarked Big Chungus for use in a video game. So if I had to guess, I would think Big Chungus is probably coming as a Bugs Bunny emote for MultiVersus. Considering MultiVersus has Ultra Instinct Shaggy in it, and Ultra Instinct Shaggy, of course, started out as a meme, same as Big Chungus. I think that them leaning into more meme material for MultiVersus makes a lot of sense. So yeah, Big Chungus is most likely coming as an emote for Bugs. Alright, so now let's talk about our newest character, Morty, as I haven't had a chance to really discuss much with him yet. So Morty has been described as a bruiser character, though Tony said Morty might be closer to a mage. It really seems like the classification for characters is a little loose. They don't necessarily fit the characters perfectly. Morty's moveset is full of references to Rick and Morty. I really appreciate that as a Rick and Morty fan. It's really cool to see. Some of the coolest things that Morty has are his loss animation being him diving into the vat of acid from the vat of acid episode. Pretty hilarious. Also, the President Morty skin for Morty has a different victory and loss animation unique to itself, so that's a pretty cool thing to see his skin have. In the short trailer video for Morty, we see the Cromulon stage, and it actually appears to have a kind of platform that isn't on the stage itself, so potentially there could be a different version of the stage, the way Trophy's Edge has different versions of itself, so possibly more of these stages that we have may have different versions of themselves, and we might have gotten a glimpse at the Cromulon one with that platform in this shot from the Morty trailer. Morty has two emotes right now, one where he drinks some orange juice, and another one where he does the head bent over dance from the Get Swifty episode. But supposedly in the game's code, Morty also has a listening emote where he has the big arm from the Mad Max episode, and he just kind of does this like listening to the crowd animation. Also, allegedly, there's a tambourine in the game's files that may have gone with Morty doing the head bent over dance. He does use a tambourine in that Get Swifty episode, or maybe this is for a future emote where Morty will use the tambourine. There's also, I guess, a texture in the files now that has a picture of Planetina. It's like a really roughly drawn picture of Planetina, but she's doing this exact pose from the show. So possibly that texture could be a future icon or something. Also, rumor is, in the code for the game, Morty has 2 skins that are in the files that we haven't seen yet. One is an Evil Morty skin, even though President Morty is technically Evil Morty. Sorry, spoiler alert there if you're watching Rick and Morty. But Evil Morty probably is a skin with Morty just with an eye patch, I would assume. And then there's another one for a mech suit Morty, which is most likely this mech suit, as it's an equivalent mech suit skin to the one that we know Rick has in the files. Also, when Morty showed up, we had a weird glitch where some different characters were in the free character rotation. MultiVersus wrote, "Attention MVPs, it looks like Morty unintentionally brought a new preview icon rotation with him. Please know this will revert back to LeBron, Steven, Batman, and Arya tonight at midnight with a brief 5-minute maintenance mode." So yeah, there was a brief time where the rotation was screwed up. I think Velma and Bugs were in instead of LeBron and Steven, but that got switched pretty quick. However, now that we're past August 30th, a new rotation is here that has Shaggy, Harley Quinn, Bugs Bunny, and Velma as our rotation until the 13th of September. One of the most interesting rumored things to be in Morty's files is Gandalf's eagle. So supposedly in the files for Morty, Gandalf's eagle is there, and it was probably used to create Morty's up special, which is Rick's ship, as Gandalf was supposedly able to make platforms using the eagle. So Gandalf is friends with the great eagles in Lord of the Rings, and he calls to them sometimes to help him out with certain situations, and supposedly Gandalf was going to have a move where he could summon an eagle and use it as a platform. Morty summons Rick's ship and uses it as a platform. So they may have used the already created moveset of Gandalf's eagle move, to create Morty's up special. Now, I've talked in past videos about how Lord of the Rings content may have been scrapped from MultiVersus. There's various reasons for that. I'm not going to get into all of it here. Go watch some of those older videos if you want to know everything. But the short version is that Embracer Group recently got the IP rights to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and that may have prevented Lord of the Rings content from getting in MultiVersus. At least for now. They may have to make a new deal or something to use Lord of the Rings content. But going back to the early leaks for MultiVersus, Gandalf was on that roster that Hungrybox showed off from one of the original MultiVersus leaks, so we're kind of just waiting to see if Lord of the Rings stuff will still get in, or if it's been cut or what. Seeing that Gandalf's eagle has been repurposed into a Rick ship for Morty's moveset might not bode so well for Gandalf happening in the game. Maybe they scrapped him and are just using parts of his moveset, reskinning them to make new moveset ideas for other characters. Of course, equally possible, if Gandalf was still in the game, they may have just used his eagle move to create Morty's Rick ship move, because they're just a similar move, and obviously it's easier to build off of something you've already made than to create something from scratch. Decide how you feel for yourself about Gandalf's eagle move being in Morty's files and most likely being used to create the Rick ship up special. So we'll just have to continue to wait and see what happens with Lord of the Rings content in MultiVersus. Speaking of potentially scrapped characters, unfortunately Godzilla might be in that boat now too. See, in the game's files, rumor has it that Ninja and Gandalf were changed to be called Unused 01. And a little bit ago, Godzilla's codename was changed to Unused 02. So potentially Godzilla's also been scrapped. On Twitter, @DiscussingFilms recently wrote, "Legendary Entertainment is planning to move on from Warner Brothers and make a deal to develop films with either Sony or Paramount. The company has worked with Warner Brothers on Dune and the MonsterVerse films." The MonsterVerse films being the new Godzilla movies. Godzilla is owned by Toho, a Japanese company, but they let Legendary Pictures make the newer Godzilla movies, and Legendary Pictures does that through WB. However, with all this Warner Brothers Discovery merger stuff, a lot of strange things are happening company-wise. One of them being Legendary Pictures potentially leaving Warner Brothers. So like I said before, even though MultiVersus isn't directly affected by the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, as in it's not being canceled because of it or something like that, it can very well be indirectly affected by all the stuff happening with Warner Brothers. So if Legendary Pictures is leaving and the Godzilla stuff isn't going to be under Warner Brothers anymore, it's possible that could end Godzilla's chances for MultiVersus. Of course, Legendary Entertainment is making a Godzilla vs. Kong 2, and that's not due out until 2024. Most likely that'll still happen under Warner Brothers, so leaving Warner Brothers might be a little bit of a ways out, so hopefully Godzilla will happen before somehow they lose the rights to use them or something. Tony did say they would be taking a break from big characters, as Iron Giant took a lot of work to make. But with Godzilla on our big list of speculated and potentially data mined and leaked fighters here, this big character lineup, it's possible that Godzilla will happen before any rights issues happen with him. And just like the Lord of the Rings characters, even if there was some issue with Legendary moving on to some other studio or something, it's possible that Warner Brothers and the MultiVersus team would still go out to get them as a third-party character. Potentially Gandalf, Legolas, Godzilla. No matter who owns them, MultiVersus may still want to use the character, as they seem to have worked on them to some extent already. So among third-party characters they'd potentially go out to get for this game, I would imagine the ones that they have already done work on would be the top of their priority list to get. There was this interesting interview with head of Warner Brothers Games, David Haddad. In that interview, it says Haddad frames the free-to-play MultiVersus as proof of the division's potential with long-lasting games that are run as services. With plans for a continuously expanding roster, it could be another crossover-filled Fortnite. Though Haddad said the team's attention and focus for roster growth will be on WB Discovery's existing intellectual property, meaning the roster will mostly be WB-owned characters and franchises. He is, of course, just saying the focus will be that, not that it will entirely be that. So yeah, it's still not being called Warner Brothers Brawlers or something. It is MultiVersus, and things outside of Warner Brothers can get in the game. Again, our big list of potentially data-mined and leaked characters has some third-party characters on it already, like 11, from Stranger Things, which is a Netflix-owned series. So nothing really new here. It's still possible to get third-party characters. So if you're hopeful for Walter White like I am, yeah, that's still a possibility. Though Tony has said no promises recently when asked about Walter White. Of course, he also said no promises to Ed, and Eddie, and Tony just talks a lot on Twitter, so yeah, take these tweets with a grain of salt. Who knows what we're gonna get. Alright, so let's talk about characters, as supposedly tomorrow we're going to get something revealed, potentially the next character. Or the time frame or release date for the next character, anyway. I thought we'd potentially get the trailer for the next character at Gamescom, but that didn't happen, though MultiVersus did have a presence there. Over on Twitter, Tony was asked, do you think there should be 200 plus characters from all the franchises in MultiVersus? Personally, I think it'd be dope to have a huge character pool. And Tony said, if players want it and support it, we'll keep making more. So yeah, there is no limit to how far this game will go. If it keeps getting supported for years and years, they will simply keep adding characters, which is awesome to hear. And on the subject of far out there characters we could get years down the line or something, Tony wrote this: the requests determine a lot of which characters we pursue. Requests just recently directed our team towards putting more resources towards a character that would have been much further out. So fans requesting to see particular characters has already influenced the MultiVersus team to take a character that was further down the road and push them up in the priority list. Probably a character we'll get much sooner than we would have initially, except that fans have requested for them a lot. So that's definitely good news for characters like Godzilla or the Lord of the Rings characters actually happening. Even if they're third-party characters, if fans demand things, the MultiVersus team will try to make it happen. But speculating specifically about this tweet from Tony, who could this particular character be that they're talking about? We of course have this massive list of rumored to be data mined or leaked characters, so potentially one of the later ones on here may have been moved forward because a lot of fans have been requesting them. If I had to guess, I'd probably say it might be someone like Samurai Jack or Ben 10. I've seen a lot of people requesting Samurai Jack and Ben 10 since MultiVersus was first being talked about, so to see them on the Huge Leaker Actually's list of characters that have been discussed, but we haven't actually seen them in the data mines, or the rumors haven't said anything about them in the data mines, I think maybe one of them could have been moved forward because so many fans have requested them. But that's just my guess about it. It could of course be a way more out there character like Walter White, who's had a ton of fan requests for him, though he's a character that isn't on our big lineup of rumored to be leaked or data mined fighters. However, Tony said no promises recently when asked about Walter White, and Huge Leaker actually weighed in on that tweet. Huge Leaker actually said he's not happening anytime soon about Walter White, if not ever. A lot of you don't realize how hard it is to get certain sensitive IP in the game in the first place. Huge Leaker actually basically just said that it would be tough to get something like Breaking Bad in MultiVersus due to the subject matter in Breaking Bad. Even though we have stuff like Arya from Game of Thrones, still the subject matter of Breaking Bad, it's tough to disassociate Walter White with being a person who cooks meth, whereas Arya, though the show has sex and violence in it, Arya herself is just a fantasy character. It doesn't immediately cause problems with having that character associated with something like Steven Universe, which is far more kid-friendly. You can somewhat disassociate Arya from the graphicness of Game of Thrones and just have her be a fantasy fighting character, whereas someone like Walter White, you really can't disassociate the fact that he cooks meth as his main character trait. Anyway, in Huge Leaker's response to this over on Reddit, they casually mentioned Ben 10, who's in development by the way, basically confirming that Ben 10 is now in development. So considering Ben 10 was a highly requested character, I've seen a lot of people pushing for him, my guess would be that the character Tony's talking about here that was pushed higher up in priority, that was going to be further along in development, is probably Ben 10, but again, that's just a guess. Even still, that said, I don't think Ben 10 is going to be who we're going to see tomorrow. So let's talk about what we could potentially see tomorrow. We have 3 characters for Season 1 that we know about already, but we don't have exact release dates for them. Those characters are Rick, Stripe, and Black Adam. So I assume if the news we're getting tomorrow does actually relate to a character, it's probably going to relate to one of those 3 and give us a release date for them. In my last MultiVersus video, I talked about how Tony said we're tuning the character after Morty. I think it's going to be pretty cool, #MultiVersus. And that he said the character after Morty instead of just Rick. So we don't actually know that Rick will be the next character. It could be someone else. I talked about a theory that using the word tuning might have been a clever hint that it's a Looney Tunes character, and if that was indeed the case, my guess would be Marvin the Martian could be the character after Morty. But there were other possibilities as well. It could still just be Rick, and Tony didn't want to give that away. The new season of Rick and Morty, Season 6, premieres on September 4th, so it could make a lot of sense to have Rick released for MultiVersus around the time of the Season 6 premiere. I had made this mock-up idea of when we could get character releases about every 2 weeks, and if that is true, then about 2 weeks after Morty would fall around the premiere of Season 6 for Rick and Morty. Also, rumor has it, in the game's code, Rick was originally called C020, and only much more recently has that been changed to just being called Rick, implying he could be fairly close to being ready to be released. Actually, speaking of that supposedly rumored C0 list in the game's code, some things have been updated on it. We now know that the Wicked Witch is C022 and Beetlejuice is C024. Marvin is still listed before Rick and Morty. Black Adam is also on there. Gizmo and Stripe both share C023 as C023A and C023B. And Nubia is still questionably on here. They could possibly be a variant skin for Wonder Woman, though being on this list makes it seem more like they're their own character. There's some confusing things in the code for them, so unsure on them still. So C020 being updated to being called Rick is good news for potentially Rick being the next character. However, another character actually seems to have more going for them as probably who they'd reveal tomorrow. So the rumor right now is that Gizmo has actually been playtested recently. Rick has been heavily playtested, and Marvin has maybe been playtested a couple of times. Supposedly, neither Morty nor Stripe were in any kind of playtest that anyone can see, so most likely that means that, especially because we already got Morty was already finished, it didn't need to be playtested, so Stripe may also be finished and doesn't need to be playtested. If Stripe's finished, then I would assume he's probably the next character and likely who we could be seeing tomorrow get a release date, or maybe a gameplay trailer or something like that. However, keep in mind, it's very likely that Stripe is a Gizmo and Stripe 2-in-1 character. That C0 list has them both listed as C023, just as C023A and C023B. On a podcast, Tony actually slipped up and called the character Gizmo Stripe when talking about characters that have already been revealed. He called the character Gizmo Stripe and not just Stripe, because Gizmo has not been officially revealed yet, heavily implying they are in fact the same character. And also, Tony had that tweet asking who likes bows and arrows, which most of us seem to think is probably a reference to Gizmo, who uses a bow and arrow. The rumored datamines show that Gizmo does in fact use a bow and arrow in his attacks, so yeah, he's probably the bow and arrow character Tony was referencing here. But the best evidence going in favor of the next character being Gizmo and Stripe is that Gizmo's entire mastery rewards, the rewards that you get for mastering a character like from level 1 to level 15, all the perks and signature perks and rewards for that have images in the game's code right now. And they are linked to a re-added back-in image of a Gizmo icon. So if the icon and the full mastery for Gizmo are already set in the game, that heavily implies that Gizmo's probably someone they're trying to get out next. And again, the character is probably a Gizmo and Stripe 2-in-1 character in some way. Gizmo's signature perks even have code names. They are Bounce and Backpack. Whether those things will actually have anything to do with Gizmo's signature perks, like if he actually uses a backpack in some way, I doubt it would be the way Finn does. Gizmo actually rides in a backpack sometime, though, is anybody's guess. Those might just be code names. So yeah, maybe Gizmo will hide in a backpack for one of his moves. Maybe he'll bounce into the air in some way for one of his moves, and those signature perks do something with that. Gizmo having their own signature perks could make you think that they'd be a separate character because their perks would be specific to them and not to them and Stripe, but maybe Gizmo has a signature perk and Stripe has a signature perk and you somehow switch between them. Who knows how this stuff's going to work? They're probably some sort of odd 2-in-1 character again. Also, speaking of Gizmo hiding in a backpack, MultiVersus tweeted this out. It says, "Hop in, Jerry. We're going for a ride, #MultiVersus," where they have Finn, and Jerry is in Finn's backpack. This could potentially have been a hint at Gizmo riding in Billy's backpack from Gremlins. Oh, and we also know Gizmo's first skin will cost 500 Gleamium, though we don't know what the skin is exactly. And Gizmo will cost 2,000 gold, implying he's not an expert character, as those have all cost 3,000 gold. So there's just a lot of stuff piling up in favor of Gizmo, or Gizmo Stripe being the potential next character we could get. The bow and arrow tweet, the Finn and Jerry backpack tweet, Tony talking about a character after Morty instead of just saying Rick, and most importantly, rumors of Gizmo having their entire mastery rewards in the game's code already. That really seems like they're setting up to put that character in the game soon. In past videos, I've gone over what Gizmo might do in their moveset and what Stripe might do in their moveset, so I won't repeat it here. However, it's also been found out that Stripe will use a chainsaw as part of their moveset, which is great to hear, as Stripe should use a chainsaw. That was a major part of the movie, and it's just a cool weapon for him to use, so yeah, awesome to hear that. We already knew he was going to use a gun, apparently, as part of his moveset, and bite, but yeah, awesome to hear he's also going to be using his chainsaw. So we'll have to wait and see what we actually get tomorrow. It might not even be a character reveal or a character time frame for the next character release or something, but my guess is it'll probably be Gizmo and Stripe, and we'll probably find out when we're going to get them next. But that is just a guess. Again, it could be something else. It could be Rick. It could just be Stripe or Gizmo alone. Who knows what's going on with that? It could be Marvin. Again, that's a possibility too. Or someone else I haven't even mentioned. Who knows for sure? Speaking of Marvin, though, supposedly in the game's code, rumor is that Marvin actually compares his Instant Martians to Rick's Meeseeks as one of the, character interaction voiceovers. When going over the rumors of Marvin's moveset in the game's code, I talked about how the Instant Martians weren't something anyone saw there, but the fact they're part of his speech or voiceover dialogue could potentially mean that they might actually be in his moveset, which would be cool to see. Rick supposedly uses Meeseeks as part of his moveset, so yeah, it'd be cool to see both characters have those in their movesets. Alright, and then just a few other rumored to be datamined stuff that people have supposedly found in the game's code recently. There are apparently 2 upcoming Finn profile icons. No idea what they're going to look like, but supposedly they're in the game's code. There might be another announcer pack for Finn, and it might be a Pajama Finn announcer pack. Very weird to do Pajama Finn as an announcer and not Fern, who is a rumored to be upcoming skin for Finn, and Fern should have their own voice, so it would make more sense to give them a unique announcer pack. But yeah, supposedly Pajama Finn announcer pack could be happening. There's a rumor that something in the game's code is called Winterfell Branch, which is probably a Game of Thrones stage or something from the Game of Thrones stage. I'd assume since it says Winterfell and Branch, it's probably a Weirwood tree branch or something like that. So yeah, the Godswood is probably part of a Winterfell stage, and at some point you're probably fighting on the branches of the Weirwood tree. Pretty cool if you ask me. There's a rumor that something in the game's code is a DC skin pack that would have Wonder Woman's Bloodline skin, Batman the Animated Series skin, and Superman 1,000,000 skin. It would cost 3,000 Gleamium. This may have been scrapped, or possibly they could be bundling skins that have some similarities together as a cheaper way to buy multiple skins at once. This would be a DC skin pack. Who knows if that's a scrapped concept or if we're actually going to get that at some point. Also rumored to be in the game's code is a Hero Iron Giant skin. No idea what it looks like, but supposedly it's going to cost 500 Gleamium. Alright, and then just a couple final things. Tony congratulated someone on being the 8th person to buy the Fred style icon. That's the icon I actually used in the closed alpha, but in the open beta and into season 1, the icon now costs 50,000 gold, which is a ton of gold. I don't even think I have 20,000 saved up, but I really want to get that Fred style icon and join these 8 players who have it. I've actually dressed up as Fred with my friends as part of our Scooby-Doo gang Halloween costumes, so I really would love to see Fred in the game, and if not, I at least really want this icon despite it costing 50,000 gold. Right now, I think I have like a little less than 20,000 gold, so I got a ways before I'm going to get this Fred icon, but I'm coming for that ascot. And last thing I'm going to mention, Raindog got a voice actor, or at least we now know who Raindog's voice actor is. This was posted over on TikTok. Okay, well that's everything I want to talk about for MultiVersus. We're going to get some kind of news tomorrow. Hopefully it's a character reveal or the reveal of when we're going to get the next character. If I had to guess, my guess is it's probably a Gizmo Stripe dual character reveal tomorrow, but who knows? Very excited to see what we get. If you have any thoughts or comments about any of the stuff I talked about in this video, leave them below.
Remember to like the video, leave a comment in the section below, and subscribe to Papa Gino's
Twitter, Patreon, Discord, Twitch.